Hi, my name is Lillian, and this is my partner Maxwell, and we're super excited to show you today our game Piping Plovers. So if you guys don't know, piping plovers are small, sand-colored, sparrow-sized shorebirds. They tend to nest and feed along coastal sand and gravel beaches in North America and in other places too. And Pixar made a short called Piper that was very well received, and both my partner Maxwell and I love it. We wanted to make a game about piping plovers as a way to promote awareness of these adorable birds. Piping plovers were actually considered endangered. In 1986, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service listed the Great Lakes population as endangered and the northern Great Plains and Atlantic populations as threatened. However, conservation efforts have proved successful, and in 1990 they had dwindled to just 12 breeding pairs, but last summer in 2022, 150 chicks were fledged in the wild, and this is the greatest number of chicks fledged since the population was listed as endangered. There's a long road ahead, but these efforts have been inspiring, and the plover's unique, quick, swarm-like movements to forage for food on beaches inspire this game. During our ideation process, we wanted the art style and theme to draw upon the natural sandy environment of the plovers. We went for a top-down semi-isometric view to kind of get that overall look of the flock and swarm perspective. For the environment, we were able to leverage Unity's built-in terrain editing features. We created pretty natural-looking sand dunes and utilized some grass and pebble brush textures. The environment also strives to convey natural and predictable wave movements. The overall map is contained by the natural sand dunes, and also the food mound indicators are naturally integrated into the terrain as they spawn in. The objective of the game is to achieve a flock of 15 plovers by catching food and avoid getting hit by the waves. The player controls the flock via mouse click and starts with one plover bird, and a bird gets added for each 10 points collected. Food pickup spawns with a certain probability and location corresponding to its rarity, and the game ends if all the birds get hit by the waves, and each bird follows a set of Boyd rules, which Maxwell will cover next.
Piping plovers depends on realistic simulation of bird movements. In a previous iteration, we tried having all birds follow the mouse, but it looks unnatural and odd when all birds move perfectly in unison and they even stack on top of each other. Boyd's is an artificial life algorithm developed by Craig Reynolds in 1986. Each Boyd is a particle that only follows 3 simple rules, yet together the swarm moves in complex ways. We call this emergent behavior, and it seeks to mimic the way real birds move. The following video demonstrates this emergent behavior. The first rule is cohesion. Birds fly towards the local center of mass of its closest neighbors, and this takes the form of a vector component that points towards the center of mass. The magnitude of this vector is a tunable parameter that determines how closely the flock stays together. The second rule is separation. This is basically collision avoidance. Birds try to fly away from birds within its closest threshold, within a certain magnitude, both of which are tunable parameters. The third rule is alignment. Birds try to fly with a similar velocity as its neighbors, which means it matches a component that corresponds to the average velocity of its neighbors. This adds a sense of directionality to the flock. We also implemented some additional rules. The point of Boyd's is that each bird only knows what it can see. We used vector angle calculations so birds can only see other birds within its realistic field of view, and within a certain distance too, since birds can only focus on close visible neighbors. For the user to be able to manually control the flock, we added a target based on the last known mouse click. An additional vector component is added that points towards the target. Finally, for realism, each Boyd takes on random Gaussian noise for each of its tunable parameters. That means birds have their own personalities, and some can be faster than others, or follow the flock more closely than others, just like how all birds in real life are slightly different. When the target is fixed, you'll be able to observe emergent flocking behavior.
Alright, now let's dive into some of the gameplay. here are references, and thank you guys so much for listening.